In the previous hunting episode, I joined up with a good friend of mine and travelled out to a beautiful farm in South Africa's Eastern Cape to shoot some problematic ground squirrels. We had an incredibly successful day, but the fun's not over yet. There are still plenty of ground squirrels digging up the land and munching on the lucerne, so when another beautiful morning presents itself, we decide to head out for round 2. Right, so we're at Witmosskloof farm. We've come out to all the lands where they grow the lucerne, or the grazing lands for the sheep, and there's a lot of ground to cover here. So we've got the impact. We're going to be shooting off the back of a truck, alternating between Luke and I, with the scope cam on the impact. And the more ground we can cover, the better, because these things are spread out. They've got colonies, and they'll have colonies posted all around the lands, especially around the outside. And we're just going to drive, and when we see them, we're going to stop, see if we can take some shots. I'm expecting a few long shots today because they are quite spread out. But if we can get that all on camera, it should be great. Anton here lives on the farm. He's going to show us the way around. He knows this place well, and he knows exactly where all the ground squirrels are. So hopefully he can give us some inside information. We have quite a lot of ground to cover, and that's why we've opted to shoot off the truck today. We know what to expect from the ground squirrels now, so we head straight for the first colony and get down to work. As you can see, these critters are full of energy, and that makes it incredibly difficult because they only give you a small window of time to range them, make some calculations, and take the shot. And of course, even when you do get your range estimation and holdover spot on, you still have the wind to deal with. This shot was from 130 yards, and I don't hold enough for the wind. The elevation is perfect, but the pellet drifts way off to the right. Soon we get some opportunities a little bit closer. This one's from about 75 or 80 yards, and Luke takes a really good heart and lung shot.
There we go, nice one.
Got him.
Oh, he's going down, bro.
Can't see him.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Well done, bro.
Nice.
This one's quartering away a little bit, but Luke places the pellet right behind the shoulder. Don't be fooled by all the movement after the shot. It's a good heart and lung shot. He just takes a few seconds to completely shut down. Luke passes the rifle back to me. I line up on a squirrel about 65 yards out and take the shot. I'm holding about 0.5 mil for the wind here, and does the trick. Even when you're just doing a pest control job, it's always good to retrieve what you shoot. These may not be the tastiest animals on earth, but there will always be someone or something that will make use of them. Plus, it wouldn't be very respectful to the landowner if we just left them lying around. After a decent start to the day, we move on to the next spot, and again there's plenty of action. I don't know what these things are eating, but they have way too much energy. I get an opportunity from about 95 yards, and this time I hold a little bit too much for the wind. I've said it once and I'll say it again, wind is definitely the long-range shooter's biggest nemesis. It's extremely difficult to master. I hand Luke the impact, and after 1 or 2 excruciatingly close misses, he gets the wind just right and nails a headshot from about 95 yards.
Yeah, that was quite a long shot, but I'd missed a few times, but then I saw what the wind was sort of doing, so I held 1 or 2 mil dots and just smacked him perfectly and just dropped.
We still have plenty of ground to cover, but before we do any more shooting, here's something educational for you guys. So a lot of people don't know this, but you look at a cactus like this and you see all these little white spots in it. It almost looks like some kind of mold or some kind of fungus that's growing on it. But this stuff's actually used for as a food coloring in sausages, for example, or Viennas. It looks white, but when you pick it up and you squeeze it, it goes dark red, and that's what you use in sausages. It's got no taste at all. Nice dark red color. Just something interesting that I thought you might want to know. So back to the shooting, and this is where we start to take things to the next level. We park off near a location where we know there are plenty of ground squirrels, but we don't want to scare them off, so we decide to set up about 70 or 80 yards away from them and take them out from a distance. The FX impact is incredibly quiet, so they won't hear the shot from this distance, and that will give us enough time to range between each shot. Luke starts things off with Anton helping him to spot, and we get things going with a bang. This one's at 100 yards, and Luke absolutely nails it.
Dead.
Nice, bro.
Do you see that?
Yep,
Did
got
you
it.
get that one?
Yep.
There he is there. Is that him?
Luke lines up on another one for about the same distance, 100 yards or so, and it's another clean shot.
Got it.
And can you believe it, we have another cannibal squirrel. This is the second time in 2 days that we've seen this, and it's starting to creep me out, but unfortunately this one's not presenting us with a clean shot, so we let him be and move on to this one, a little bit closer at about 85 yards. The pellet strikes this one right in the neck, and it's another good shot. At this point, I'll take back the reins and start ranging a few animals. I'm at a very stable shooting position, so my biggest limiting factor is going to be my ability to calculate my hold correctly for each shot. It's not easy when the animals you're shooting are this energetic because you really do only have a few seconds to take the shot. I'll start off with a miss here, but it's quite a funny miss because the pellet just skims the fur on his head and he sort of runs off not knowing what's just happened, stopping every few meters to scratch his head. This is one lucky squirrel. The next shot, however, is perfect. This was from about 105, maybe 110 yards. And as you can see, we're shooting straight into the wind now, which makes things much easier.
Where? On the right. Okay. There's run past the left. He's going to come. There's two there.
And this one is probably my favorite shot of the day. Just take a look at this.
Oh.
Nice.
It's a really solid hit from 126 yards. And yep, it's a long way off. You can see just how far it is as the camera zooms out here. Let's watch the shot in slow motion from both camera angles because I just love seeing that pellet in flight. And I want you to listen carefully as well because you can clearly hear that pellet zipping through the air. It sounds really, really cool. Scope cam angle is also great because you can see the pellet drop quite nicely. When we found the squirrel later, we discovered that the pellet had basically passed through his entire body, in the lower back and out the chest, so it was a very clean kill. When taking really long shots, I'm talking about like 80 meters plus, on small animals like this, you really have to get your calculations right, especially when the wind's blowing like this, because wind is a really horrible variable to deal with. So what I've got here is the weather flow wind meter plugged into my iPhone. I've got an app called Squirrel, which basically tells me exactly where I need to aim. We're at about 1,400 meters altitude here. It's really, really high above sea level, and that means that I can't just use the normal holdover values that I use down at sea level where I set the gun in and where I printed these. I have to hold a little bit less because the pellet drops a little bit less at this high altitude. So I basically use the barometer on my phone, just press a button, the phone tells me the air pressure and gives me a very accurate holdover value for taking these really long shots. So that 115 meter shot that you saw was calculated on Squirrel. At close range, I can use this. I can use these values here, and it's perfectly fine. But at longer ranges, you need to be really, really precise. And here are the last two shots of the day. This one is so close that I don't even bother to range him, and it ends up being a big mistake. The pellet zips over his head, and there's an explosion of dust and rock behind him. It is pretty cool to see in slow motion, though. I don't make the same mistake again, and when this one appears at 136 yards, I don't hesitate to take the shot.
Oh! I hit him, yeah.
Unfortunately, the quality of this clip through the scope cam is really bad, but you can just make out the squirrel. I hold just a tiny bit to the left for the wind and end up taking a good spine shot. It's a fantastic way to end the day, and all that's left to do is to assess the carnage.
Other one, I think you just threaded it.
I have never shot so many ground squirrels in one go, ever. Luke and I have been absolutely smashing these things. We decided to do one more drive around this field here, and we stopped and we just saw what must have been about 20 or 30 ground squirrels just running and running and running. And when we started shooting at them, we dropped a few, but they started running a little bit further. This gun just puts them down so easily. So it was just a matter of getting our ranges right, and once we had that, they kind of stand up like this, and you aim for the head. If you drop a little bit low, you get a body shot, and with a gun that powerful, you can put them down quite easily. So very happy. We've really done an amazing job here now. Let's go fetch all of these and see where the shots hit. This is almost like doing an Easter egg hunt. These squirrels are pretty much exactly the same color as the sand, so it can be a challenge to spot them, and some of them are already halfway down their holes, but I think we managed to collect all of them, and when we lay them out in front of the impact, we realized just how many we have. I didn't think we'd ever be able to shoot as many as the day before, but somehow we did, and to get many or most of them from over 100 yards is just the cherry on top. We've done a service for the farmer, we've had plenty of fun, and we've gained some valuable long-range shooting experience. That's the end of another one, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.